Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's Brittany here with another video to help you guys live a happy, healthy, awesome life in a wheelchair. And today I want to talk about incontinence. I get the question a lot, do I wear diapers? What do I do when I'm incontinent? And I wanted to chat about it because I've never done a video about it. Before I get to that though, I'm editing those videos about Mexico. I promise they're coming. I just am busy going through all the footage because we got home and I didn't edit the videos, and then I had all the video footage from like my husband's phone, my phone, my camera, all this footage to edit, and it's just like it's taking me forever, and I'm also just like procrastinating like crazy on it because there's so much to go through. So if you watched the packing for Mexico video and you're curious because I left you on a cliffhanger, I promise it's coming, just not this week. So it'll come next week, I promise. I'll get them all out next week, or at least one of them out next week. But they'll come out in succession after next week, I promise. Okay, so today I want to talk about incontinence, and I'm going to enlist the help of Tigger here, who's going to be my little demonstration subject to show you what I do when I am incontinent. But first the question, do I wear a diaper? Or a Depends, or a brief. The nicer name for them is brief. I don't actually wear one, and I've never really worn one. Like, I used to wear one when I came out of the hospital a little bit, but I was really self-conscious about having to wear a diaper, so I ditched it right away and just prayed to God I didn't have an accident, which I did a few times. I peed on the floor in the middle of grade 8 because I was wearing nothing, not any kind of incontinence product, and it was super embarrassing. So after that, I started wearing incontinence pads. And I just got used to wearing incontinence pads and not briefs. And it seemed to work okay. I definitely leak enough to need to change my pants sometimes if the pad doesn't hold enough, but not super, super often. And for me, the reason that I like wearing incontinence pads instead of incontinence like briefs is just because I feel like a pad is easier to change when I'm out than a brief would be, because a pad, if I wet just a little bit, I can change it without having to get undressed. And a diaper or a brief, you would have to entirely undress in order to remove it, and that takes more work than just changing my pad. It took me a while, honestly, only in just the last like maybe 3 years, where I figured out how to change my pad without getting undressed and without getting out of my chair. If you guys haven't seen how I pee, you can go watch the video how I pee so that it makes more sense to you when I'm talking about how I change my pad, because I have a zipper in the crotch of my pants to pee and I don't get undressed or get on the toilet. So I'll link to that video in the description down below and in the cards up above right here, so that you can go check that out if you're confused as to what I'm doing with me changing my pad in my wheelchair. So that's the reason I basically don't wear diapers, but I might wear them in the future if I have worse incontinence. And over the last 2 years, I think, my incontinence has gotten increasingly worse. My urinary incontinence, not fecal incontinence, so I'm not super worried about that, just because I haven't had a whole bunch of bowel accidents in my time as a person with a paralysis. I just don't seem to have them, which is really lucky. So I'm only talking about urinary incontinence in this video because fecal incontinence is a much bigger deal, but urinary incontinence I can seem to manage when I'm out pretty easily. And in the last 2 years, like I said, my incontinence has gotten worse. I think I might be entering perimenopause, and I just did a video or a live YouTube live with my friend Margaret, and we talked about why entering perimenopause could potentially cause your urethra to be less effective. So I think that is what's happening to me because I'm leaking frequently. I'm not peeing like my whole bladder or anything. I'm just leaking frequently, which is really annoying because it makes me have to change my incontinence pad a few times a day sometimes, and that's annoying and increases the time it takes me to go to the bathroom. But I'd rather be able to do it than not do it, and I'd rather leak than pee my whole bladder. So still staying relatively grateful, even though I'm pretty grumpy sometimes if I pee a lot during the day. So, okay, let's talk about how I actually change my pad. So this is my little demonstration subject because it's really hard to show you how I actually change my pad without, Joe said, he was like, you can just put panties over top of your leggings, which I thought about doing, but it's just kind of hard to actually show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to use this little guy. So these are my underwear. They're my actual underwear. And I wear boy shorts just because I like them better than regular underwear. So these are boy short, stretchy spandex underwear, and I really like that type. Anything that's like sort of stretchy. So this is the underwear I have on, and when I am changing my pad, I am in the same position as I am when I'm peeing. So my butt is on the edge of my seat and my feet are typically up on a toilet or something. I have to have my feet up in order to change my pad because I need my legs to be open in order for me to be able to maneuver the pad inside my underwear. So my butt's at the very front of my seat and I'm sort of tilted forward like this guy. So I am pretty tilted just like this Tigger is. So I take my pad out by just reaching in my underwear and kind of peeling it off and stretching all the way to the back and peeling the sticky stuff off, and then I kind of pinch the pad and then pull it out so that it's closed when I'm pulling it out and nothing gets anywhere on my hands or anything. So I'm touching the outside of the pad and not the inside of the pad, and I'm pinching it, folding it essentially, and pulling it out of my underwear. So that's how I get the pad out. And then to put the pad in, so this is the actual pad I use. It is a Poise pad, number 4 absorbency, regular length, and that just seems to work for me. So I take it out, I leave it folded, I pull the sticky stuff off, like that. Blech. That fell on the ground. And I leave it folded. So I leave it folded, and then I take my left hand and I kind of stretch my underwear back, and then with my right hand I put the pad in and I kind of position it where I want it to be while it's still folded. And then I take my thumb and I pinch the front of the pad that I want to stay in the front of my underwear. And then I use my right hand and I unfold the rest of it. And as I get to the back, because I'm kind of sitting on my butt, so the back is kind of hard to get in its proper position, I let go with this hand and I kind of pull back on my underwear at the back, and then I'm kind of, actually, hang on. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. So I'm actually holding the skin of my butt with my left hand. It took me a minute to realize what I'm doing. I'm holding the skin of my butt cheek essentially with my right hand and sort of pulling it up, and then with my right hand I'm unfolding the pad and making sure that it doesn't stick to my butt kind of thing. It takes a while to get used to, and it took me a while to actually get proficient at it. It was just sort of like a crumpled mess when I first started because I wasn't very good at it, but the more I did it, the more I figured out how to maneuver my underwear, use my hands, and ultimately just get the pad in place. Once I kind of have the pad unfolded, my underwear are kind of stretched out and there's a big space in here. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but hang on, I'm gonna move forward a little bit. So my underwear are stretchy, and when I have the pad going in, I kind of have a big space like this. So there's a big space where the pad is, and then I just sort of leave it like this, kind of crumpled up, and then I zip up my pants again, and then I sit back, and once I'm sitting back, the pad still isn't in place. It's sort of crumpled up in the middle like this, and I have to position it. So once I'm sitting back, I'm going to kind of show you what I actually do now, because this is not going to help if I don't show you actually what I'm doing in my wheelchair. So I sit back just like I am now, and then I lean forward, or I lean sideways extremely far, and I go in the back of my underwear until I can reach the back of the pad, and I pull it back to the position that it's supposed to be in. And then I do the same thing on this side. So I lean extremely far, there's a big space under here. I put my hand down the back of my pants until I can reach my pad, and then I pull it back to where it needs to be. And then once I'm done pulling the pad back to where it needs to be, then I sit forward and I take my underwear in the back of with my hand in the back. I'm terrible at explaining things. I take my underwear and grab it with my right hand, and then I lift with this elbow, and I lift my butt and I pull back as I'm sort of yanking my butt back. And that pulls my pants up, and that pulls my underwear up to where they need to be. So I have my butt forward, I keep the pad folded, I kind of unfold it in my underwear and position as best I can while I'm sitting forward, leaving the pad sort of scrunched up a little bit in my crotch area, and then I sit back, lean sideways, and grab the pad from behind and yank it backwards to where it needs to be so it's not all wrinkled up in between my legs. So it's kind of an annoying process, but I promise if you practice, you'll get good at it. Again, this is a technique that really only works if you have a zipper in the crotch of your pants. So if you are somebody that doesn't have that, then changing your pad might be different for you. I have some friends that pee on the toilet, and then they use the grab bars on the side kind of thing to lift themselves up and pull their pants up, which I'm assuming if they had to change their pad, they could just do it on the toilet that way. But this works for me. I wanted to talk about how I do it just because if I were incontinent and I had to go home every time I peed my pants, I would not have a life. I would literally not go anywhere because I leak a lot, and it doesn't really need to ruin my day as long as I am able to stay dry and not have, a wet pad under me all day. Because there was a time that I either went home or I sat in pee all day, and that's not good for your skin. It's not good for the pee that's in the pad, just the bacteria that's in it and all that stuff. So I try my best to change my pad if I feel any moisture at all when I'm cathing, so that I don't have bacteria, I don't have moisture on my skin, and I just feel better. I know it's like a mental thing. I can't feel the pee anyway when I'm sitting in it, but I just feel mentally more secure and comfortable when I have a dry pad and my pants are dry. I just feel more comfortable and confident, which that's what you want, right? So that's how I deal with incontinence. It is something that if you have spinal cord injury, you're probably going to have to live with. It's something that definitely is very taxing mentally at times and really frustrating. My family will tell you all day long that I get really grumpy sometimes if I've had a day where I am incontinent all the time, especially if I'm sick or something, or if I'm out and I'm trying to do something. It's just really frustrating to have to worry about that on top of all the other physically exhausting things that you have to do in a wheelchair. But it's also something that you can't let entirely ruin your life, because if you did, then you'd have a pretty miserable existence, especially if you're incontinent all the time, like some of us are. So yeah, I don't wear diapers. I do wear incontinence products. Poise pads number 4 absorbency is the one that seems to work for me. And that's how I change my pad. So that's how I deal with incontinence. If you have any questions about how I did this, then please put it in the comments. I hope this made sense, because sometimes when I go to explain something that I do intuitively, I realize that I don't know what the heck I'm doing some of the time. So I hope it made sense, and I hope it helps somebody out there who's struggling with incontinence and isn't sure how to be able to leave the house and change their pants or their pads when they're on the go. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. If you have any other questions about incontinence, just leave them in the comments and I will try to answer them. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye.